Watershed, it can be said, our home place. The clouds, the hills, our roof, our halls, and simple truth of watershed, here all our waterfalls.
Youth, they are our future, our legacy. It is to them that we leave the world in which we lived, and to them we task with the consequences of our choices. With the earth under stress from overpopulation, exploitation, and pollution, it is more imperative than ever to instill sound environmental practices in today's youth.
Well, the youth are the future, and the youth are also the present. What we do right now is, going to live on generation after generation in our children. So getting them off to a really good start in terms of understanding nature and just feeling free to come out here and interact with our beautiful surroundings is going to make sure that the people living in this gorgeous part of the Ottawa Valley are taking care of this precious environment for generation after generation to come.
We all talk about how we need to change the way we do things to be more ecologically sound, but change for the better is often met with stiff opposition. Could it be we are more concerned for our own well-being than that of our descendants? Perhaps we need to think about change on a generational scale, instilling the youth of today with the sound environmental attitudes and practices that are needed for generations to come.
Our students were invited by the Ottawa River Institute to come down and to participate in a biodiversity activity. We explored different tree species on our way here, and when we got here we were allowed to use all kinds of neat equipment to capture some species and examine them, identify them, and then put them back into the water.
And then we brought them to do a water study here for looking at the different species that are in the water, probably looking at things that they've never seen before, and getting an appreciation for the biodiversity that's out there.
Ever inquisitive and eager to learn, instilling youth with the values that some are so resistant to could be the answer to our current challenges. Experiencing the joys of learning and being physically active in the outdoors, fostering the values of appreciating and conserving nature for years to come.
Well, I really enjoyed it, especially the part where I got to go in the water and catch wildlife. Well, I identified a long bug about this long. It was a bit creepy, and it had about 6 eggs, and it looked like an underwater grasshopper.
The youth on this day did not just expand their knowledge of local aquatic life, but also the shoreline, that important interface between water and upland in the watershed, by taking part in the planting of a tree. One tree of many that were planted around the world on this day in recognition of the importance of conserving our biodiversity.
This tree planting is part of an international day for biological diversity. People all around the world are planting trees today as a celebration of this time of year and nature. And it's called the Green Wave, and there's just a whole wave of tree planting happening right around the whole planet. So we were part of that as well.
With the busy go-go world of today, we may not get the opportunity to appreciate nature as fully as we need to. We cannot pretend we do not care for it, however, as it is more a part of us than many appreciate.
I think it's important at a very early age to both understand the nature of the place in which you live and to get out and experience it personally so that it becomes part of your growth experience as you're learning and growing as a young person. And of course, that will carry you right through to your adult life. And when those kids become decision makers, they will have an appreciation for the watershed that they might not otherwise have had.
An important way of instilling such appreciation is through interactive learning. Providing a dose of knowledge while still having fun, interactive learning suits the energetic nature of youth. This is the approach on the Water Conservation Day, a youth activity put on through a partnership of the Algonquin Way Cultural Centre, Bonnechere River Watershed Project, and Pikwakanagan Earthwalkers, a group of youth who are part of a program to learn about environmental stewardship. The day was centered around various learning stations, with different water-related conservation messages at each.
So there was actually 4 different sections. In the first section was done by the Bonnechere River Watershed Project, and they made models of the actual watershed that the Bonnechere flows through, and then the kids got to learn about good practices on managing that watershed. In the second section, we had an actual water sampling where the kids got to go into the water and take samples and find out about the bugs that they found in their water sample and whether they reflected a good water base or a bad water base. And then in the third section, we had the water conservation area, where the kids learned about ways that we waste water in our household and played some fun games to learn about how to maybe improve that water conservation, specifically about repairing leaks and dripping faucets in their home. And then the last section was Frog Watch Canada, which the kids got to go out and capture some frogs and identify them, and then we'll use that information that we found today to enter them into the website to help monitor the environmental effects on frogs.
An appreciation of conservation is important to instill in today's youth, whether it is fixing leaky faucets in the home or conserving the local frog population. Although frogs may seem like just another noisy part of the nature in your neighborhood, it is not so, as frogs are special for a very important reason.
Frogs are really important because a lot of kids don't maybe like frogs because they're ugly or slimy or wet, but they're also extremely good indicators of what's happening in our environment. Because their skin is much like our skin and absorbs water and chemicals, by looking at the health of the frogs and whether they're completing their entire life cycle, we can find out if the water quality is good. We can also, because they live on land like we do, they are exposed to a lot of the pollutants that maybe we're being exposed to as well. So it's really important that we have a good relationship with frogs, and we can use them definitely as indicators of what our environment is like in our area.
Gaining an understanding of such indicators at an early age will allow these future stewards to go through life recognizing changes in their surrounding environment, and understanding whether we are having a positive or negative effect on the surrounding ecosystems.
Important for all kids to learn that there is a balance with the animals, and we are responsible for caring for them. Because being a reserve and being located directly on the watershed, we have a large impact on the watershed. We also have a cultural understanding in that we are caregivers of the land and the animals, and that we're considered equal and at a balance. So we're always trying to incorporate that type of education into their studies. The idea of taking care of the watershed, I think, is really, really important.
Environmental stewardship can take many forms, whether it is gaining valuable knowledge through a fun activity, or a summer job involved in improving our neighborhoods. One program that seeks to do just that is the Stewardship Rangers of Renfrew County.
This summer I'm a Stewardship Ranger at the M&R, and I'm involved in a lot of really cool things that we do. We go around helping the environment, promoting how easy it really is.
We're doing a lot of things this summer. We do different things. It's a lot of outdoor sustainable living. So we do work for private landowners. They ask us to come to their homes or land, and we did a lot of things, duck boxes, building trails, so that sort of thing. So it's a lot of outdoors.
Oh, it's so much fun. I encourage anybody who can do this to go out and do it because you learn so much.
The Stewardship Rangers have been in operation since 1999. hiring 17-year-olds to work with local conservation groups on environmental projects to improve natural spaces in their communities. An 8-week program, it aims to provide community-based experience and training for youth who want to expand their commitment to natural resource stewardship.
Well, it's good. You get to be outdoors, meet new people, a lot of like references, and you learn like so much, a lot of training. Yeah, it's great. Marine biology I'm interested in. I've also thought of doing firefighting for the Ministry of Natural Resources, so it opens lots of doors.
The rangers participate in a wide range of activities, from cleaning up the banks of local waterways to building models of a watershed and simulating our impact on it.
We made a model of the Bonnechere watershed, and it starts out in the Algonquin Highlands, and then basically when it rains and we get water, it runs down into the lower parts. So it goes through Round Lake, Golden Lake, and down the Bonnechere River and into the Ottawa. So basically we just, we had different things which represented like acid rain, erosion, algae blooms, all that, and then we would just sprinkle it on the model, and then it represents how everything reacts when the rain runs down.
The day did not only consist of the model of the Bonnechere. Sampling of the Bonnechere River itself was also conducted. The rangers donned their hip waders and set out to capture all of the animals hiding on the bottom of the river.
Okay, so we're going to be doing, it's like a stream analysis. So we're going and we're taking samples of bugs, like animals, anything we find, and we're going to bring it back and analyze what we have found. So it will help us learn about how the stream is doing, so if the water's clean and how the animals are doing.
The rangers then identify those captured, as they help indicate the health of the aquatic ecosystem.
We're going to be doing the kick and sweep method of a benthic collection. We're going to look at the bugs that we find here in the river, and then kind of give them an idea of which ones indicate healthier systems than other ones that hopefully it'll be very good health. We look specifically for creatures that live in the river their entire lives, like crayfish, clams, snails, things like that. Also, we look at creatures that are in their larval or nymph stages of flying insects, like dragonflies, mayflies, midges, things like that. They're going to take a net, they're going to put it down in the river, and they're going to disturb the rocks and things that are on the bottom, and that's going to flush up any of the bugs that were attached to those rocks and sticks and things. They'll go into the net, and then we take them out and identify them.
At present date, there's a lack of info to base the findings of these studies upon. No one is currently monitoring stream condition in the Bonnechere River, a task that a conservation authority does in other watersheds, such as the Rideau. The BRWP has therefore stepped up to the plate to gather baseline information shared in a report just released in the spring of 2011. Events such as these are important for stewardship rangers, as it shows them directly how to monitor the health of the waterways in their local neighborhoods.
It's extremely important, especially as we go on into the future. Basically, I'm finding the more youth I talk to, the more they would want to be doing this type of a project. They want to be outside, especially in this area. It's so beautiful. And it's very important to sort of instill those values and really broaden their minds to the idea of ecological integrity.
Environmental activism is not just important for youth to engage in, but all ages. If we all chip in, taking responsibility through participation in environmental stewardship, we can no doubt conserve the nature in our neighborhood for everyone's benefit for generations to come.
Watershed, it can be said, our home place. The clouds, the hills, our roof, our halls, and simple truth of watershed here are.